Theory U, one process, five movements. Some of you did this training when we did it a couple of years ago with like 3-day session. Literally, it's a U. It's facilitating the movement down the U. So you start with a co-initiating, building a common intent. So the intention setting that I used this at the opening where you say your intention is a soft way. I did that. That's just say your intention. But in Theory U, and that's a Theory U thing, you really have a whole session to build common intent. Intent betul. Stop and listen to others and to what life calls to you. So you do a convening, and then we have this intention setting 2 hours, it could be. So in a way, you're co-creating the intent, and it's at the top of the U lah. So everybody is doing that, and then you synthesize it. You go to the second movement. It's co-sensing. So there's always co because you're doing it together. Observe, observe, observe. Go to the places of most potential and listen with your mind and heart wide open. This is the thing about leaning into the future or being at your threshold. Remember, I always use this language. What is the threshold? Once a group, think back about community building. Once a group, critical mass, everyone is this co-sensing. You actually arrive at the bottom of the U in the spirit of presencing. It's connect to the source of inspiration and will. Presencing is present and sensing. Go to the place of silence and allow the inner knowledge to emerge. Then you come up the U because it's a momentum. Once you've gone down, you've spent reflective time at the bottom, you will naturally come up. Co-creating, prototype the new in living examples to explore the future by doing. Forever Sabah is really good at prototyping. We prototype everything. We prototype sessions like this. We prototype payment for ecosystem services, mainstreaming biodiversity in river management, community elephant ranger teams. All of these are in a way prototypes. It's just doing it. It's just like, oh, we don't have a 550-page plan, but we have a short plan and then we do it. Because you're like, well, the current status quo is not working. We are disrupting it. We're going to showcase something different. Co-evolving, embody the new in ecosystems that facilitate seeing and acting from the whole. So why do you start with the co-initiating? Because you take a group of people, has some similarities with community building. You take 30 people, you go through this U, you come out, and you build a new ecosystem, which is seeing and acting from the whole. So it's not just seeing, really important, acting from the whole. So as the diagram illustrates, we move down one side of the U, connecting us to the world that is outside of our institutional bubble. So you hear from everybody, hear what is really amazing with having Jennifer is we hear from Jennifer's world. She's hearing from our world. And people who are bridges like Jennifer is very important. Miklin, you can name a few in our ecology. So to the bottom of the U, connecting us to the world that emerges from within, and then up the other side of the U, bringing forth the new into the world. On that journey, at the bottom of the U lies an inner gate that requires us to drop everything that isn't essential. The process of letting go of our old ego and self and letting come our highest future possibility, our self with a capital S, establishes a subtle connection to a deeper source of knowing. The essence of presencing is that these two selves our current self and our best future self meet at the bottom of the U and begin to listen and resonate with each other. Once a group crosses this subtle threshold, nothing remains the same. Individual members and the group as a whole begin to operate with a heightened level of energy and sense of future possibility. Often, they then begin to function as an intentional vehicle for an emerging future. The journey through the U develops 7 essential leadership capacities. Holding the space of listening. The foundational capacity of the U is listening, listening to others, listening to oneself, and listening to what emerges from the collective. Effective listening requires the creation of open spaces in which others can contribute to the whole. Observing. The capacity to suspend the voice of judgment is key to moving from projection to focused and peripheral observation. 3. Sensing. Seeing the system from the edges. The preparation for the experience at the bottom of the U requires the tuning of 3 inner instruments: the open mind, the open heart, and the open will. This opening process is an active sensing together as a group. While an open heart allows us to see a situation from the current whole, the open will enables us to begin to sense from the whole that is wanting to emerge. I know this is all a little bit confusing, but that's okay. Number 4, presencing. The capacity to connect to the deepest sources of self, to go to the inner place of stillness where knowing comes to surface. Crystallizing. When a small group of change makers commit to a shared purpose, the power of their intention creates an energy field that attracts people, opportunities, and resources that make things happen. This core group and its container functions as a vehicle for the whole to manifest. Prototyping. Moving down the left side of the U requires the group to open up and deal with the resistance of thought, emotion, and will. Moving up the right side requires the integration of thinking, feeling, and will in the context of practical applications and learning by doing. Co-evolving. A prominent violinist once said that he couldn't simply play his violin in the cathedral. He had to play the entire space, what he called the macro violin, in order to do justice to both the space and the music. Likewise, organizations need to perform at this macro level. They need to convene the right set of players in order to help them to co-sense and to co-create at the scale of the whole. Sorry, that's a lot of words. I think those of you who did do the Theory U training, maybe it might be reminding you of some things that we did. Yeah, you can really read the words, but it's really important to have the experience. I find this Theory U more intellectual, but I also have found it powerful. Yeah, I mean, when I did the training, I found the design very masterful. As a facilitator, I was like, wow, betul canggih lah this design. The way they did it and the way they put the 3 facilitators, 3 together. One is very powerfully intellectual, but with a big heart. So the Otto Schama, the founder. Then this other woman who is like the practical one, making sure the space is okay, making sure the program is there, beautiful voice and articulation, bringing you into the room. And then the third one was the artist. She led us through the movement, the meditation, the breathing at the end or whatever. So helping us connect with our bodies and all that. So the 3 together were just so if really, really effective. So I saw that as mastery. It was, but this sounds complex, but actually when it translates into a process, it isn't this hard. Yes, there are moments when it really stretches your brain, but it's very integrated. The open heart, open mind, open heart, open will. So that's why they have these three guides. The guy with the open mind he was very sharp. He used very few words, but he came from spirit. And the other woman was the heart, and the other woman was the body. So they did. That's also important when you choose your co-facilitators. Ini dia punya strength begini, ini dia punya strength begini, ini dia punya strength begini. And you know who's better at what. Whose voice is calming. Who's the one who likes to have people stretch, or do a dance or whatever. You see what I mean? This is becoming more and more well known and more well used in very high level, like in Holland. Dieter, the guy who came to teach us, he's using it with the government to transform the agriculture industry in Holland. So people are using it for big things. But it doesn't matter. We learned last time, 3D modeling, dialogue walk.
Yeah,
Apa lagi?
Huh?
Huh?
Into each other's eyes.
Yeah, I can't remember what else. Like, you all have those of you who came, you have the workbook. Do use the workbook. What else did we do? The stuck exercise. Yeah. All those are tools, and then you just put it together for what you want. So you can do, if you have a 3-day or your 2-day with the community, you say, pemacam mau buat derang kasih keluar tu isu-isu, pakai open space. Pemacam mau help derang tengok tu system. Maybe we do 3D mapping, but kampung style 3D mapping. Pergi yang cari kayu-kayu, pergi cari batu, whatever. You know what I mean? Things that they're familiar with. So depends on what are your questions. What are you trying? Why are you gathering them? What is the purpose? Then that helps you choose your tools or your methodologies. And then you hybridize them. So the is just that you always have this in mind. So in fact, you don't know this, but when we design our sessions, me, Rizlan, and Noel, now with Kat, we always try to do a U. We start them here, then we know they're gonna be go down a slide down to the bottom. Let's say last night, maybe somewhere towards the end of the day, you were going here, and then we do some things to help do this. You see what I mean? So we're borrowing from this. Does that make sense? It's all just mashing different things up.